Hey, El Guapo.
Would you say I had a plethora of piñatas?
I don't know if that movie could be made today.
The Three Amigos?
I would imagine that you can make that today.
I would really hope you could. And
I would hope so. That was golly, that was fan favorite. Well, everybody, we are your Three Amigos. I am your host, Brendan. Joining me is Todd and my father. Dad, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. My team, the Diamondbacks, just continue to win series 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, and just keep moving a little bit over 500 every day.
If you play blackjack like that, you will be a happy, happy, happy man.
Yep.
Todd, how are you feeling?
well,
Rejuvenated?
speaking of the Three Amigos, I refer to the Three Amigos as the 3 wins over the Cleveland Guardians that the Mets had. And hey, not to beat a dead horse, but that was some fantastic baseball to watch. That was just a lot of fun, at least for me.
Verlander looked like he was worth it.
Both Scherzer and Verlander on the same day.
Ooh, with the double dip. Hey, you know who didn't pitch on Sunday? DeGrom.
That's right. That's right.
Not that Texas needs him, apparently, because Texas is like, we're really, really good.
Yeah.
Well, we want to remind everybody.
The way the Mets won those games was like miraculous home runs and clutch hits with 2 outs and 2 strikes, and they just kept getting hit.
Yeah, I had one game, I think the game against Tampa Bay Devil Rays, where it was the first time in 50 years a team hit 3 home runs to come back from being behind to either tie or win the game.
When you're soaking in the win column, it just happens for you. And I love how, if you go back to our previous episode talking about the Mets and all the money they spent and how bad they were doing, the Mets have really performed. So we like to remind everybody why we created Swing Batter. So the creation of Swing Batter was for those owners that overspend on players and talent that don't perform. And this year we're really blessed because a lot of teams went all in and they put all their chips in the center and said, I really want to win it all. And one of those teams that we all thought this year, I especially thought this year was going to be really, really great out of the gates, was the San Diego Padres. Now, one could argue that the San Diego Padres have had a little bit of a grumpy start. They weren't feeling it. They weren't having the special as they would because Tatis didn't start the year off with them because he was still suspended. So he's back now, and the team has had a little bit of a game. I mean, we're almost at 50 games in the Major League Baseball season, and the Padres are sitting barely above the Rockies. Now, if you were to tell me that the Giants would be better than the San Diego Padres, I would have a problem with that. But if you were to tell me that the Padres had a losing record and were barely above the Rockies, this isn't like the AL East where every team has a winning team. They're all playing well. There's no shame in being 5th in that division. The NL West, led by the Dodgers, followed by the Diamondbacks. Then you have the Giants. Then you have the Padres. And I believe the Padres are sitting, just to give a quick summary for folks, are they sitting, 21-26. They're 2-8 over their last 10 games. That's with winning their last game, everybody. So they're a -8 in run differential, which is not very good. And just a team stat that I want to throw out there because they've spent a lot of money on hitting. They're betting a team batting average of 2.22. That is the team batting average, and it is dead last in all of Major League Baseball. And if anybody had the Padres dead last in all of Major League Baseball, please comment that you did, because if you thought the Padres hitting would be this bad, hats off to you, my good man or my good lady.
You got to timestamp that, though. You just can't raise your hand and be like, yeah, I totally predicted it because I was there. That doesn't count.
I'm okay with Back to the Future devices being used, but the Padres are hitting atrocious, and they are not without talent. They have tons of bats. And if anyone forgets, last year in the playoffs, they faced off against the Dodgers and beat them in the playoffs to then face off in I believe they were in the championship game for the National League.
Yep.
when they beat the Dodgers. So they lost in the championship league game, but they did beat the Dodgers, which was a massive, huge gift for the Padres, because the Padres had talked so much smack to their rival to tell them that they were going to beat them, and they beat them in the playoffs. Looked very good and smacked them around pretty good. But they are not close right now. They are currently 7.5 games out of first, 2 games above the Rockies, and it's not pretty from everything I'm looking at. The pitching, I will give you one bright note. The pitching is 10th in Major League Baseball. The sad part about that is they're 10th in all of Major League Baseball. They have one of the leaders in saves. I know that. Their save leader is doing his job. But if you're 10th in all of pitching, but your hitting is that terrible, 50 games in says something's bad there. And luckily for you, Padres, we're going to focus on you just like we did on the Mets. And the Mets quickly turned that bad boy around. So, Dad, I'm going to turn it over to you first. What about the Padres is shocking you?
I'm glad you said that at the end, because baseball is a game of ebbs and flows. Teams have 5-game winning streaks, 5-game losing streaks. Good teams have 5-game losing streaks. Bad teams have 5-game winning streaks. So it's hard to tell. We could do this thing and rip the Padres, and 1 week from now come back and find they won 7 in a row. But right now, they are a swing batter champion. I want to review 4 people that they paid a lot of money to and tell you how they're doing. I'm going to start with the famous Xander Bogaerts. They paid him a fortune to come over from Boston.
Yep.
He's currently hitting .257, which, if you weren't a multimillionaire, would be okay. However, he has a whopping 6 home runs and, are you sitting down, 16 runs batted in. 16. Manny Machado, who
Hold
also...
on. We got to let us comment on these guys. Okay, I remember when they signed Xander, and I thought Boston was letting all their talent go. Boston has a winning record right now, and they signed the right guy. That's terrible. Those are terrible numbers for Xander. Those are terrible numbers. Ugh.
So the next guy on my list is Manny Machado, who's on a 10-day disabled list right now. They just paid him a 10-year contract, I think, to start the season, wasn't it?
Tons of money.
Yeah.
He's batting .231.
Ugh.
He has hit a whopping 5 home runs and has 19 runs batted in.
So between those two guys, you're talking about 35 RBIs.
Yep.
And 11 home runs.
Yeah.
That is, I mean, Pete Alonso is that. Right? Pete Alonso has more home runs than that, and he has more RBIs than that, I believe.
He's 17 home runs as of this recording right now.
Yeah, and I bet you he has more than 35. Those are he's beating 2 players that, in my opinion, those 2 players are superstars.
Absolutely.
They're not earthly. They're out of this world with their abilities and talents.
But
ugh.
I mean,
All right.
like, how bad is Machado?
Injured? Are you talking about his injury?
No, like, how bad is Machado as a player right now? Like, I'm looking at some of the advanced stats on the Padres, right? Juan Soto, 57.5% of the balls that he's hit have been over 95 miles per hour off the barrel of the bat. That's good. Manny Machado is at 39%. He's not connecting.
Ooh.
He is not connecting at all. His average exit velocity is 89.1 miles per hour, which means with pitching today, is he only hitting slower pitches, or is he just not he's not connecting. He's not seeing it. There's something going on there. And, maybe, this injury time is kind of like, he's injured. We got to get him off the field for a little bit. He's got to reset his head.
Ugh, those are terrible stats. Those are really bad. Those are really bad stats.
Yeah, I mean, like,
that's
his
Machado's
barrel
speed off the
percentage
bat
right now is 6.5%.
Oh,
It's brutal. I mean, just
and they're paying him for 10 more years. They got to pay him.
Yeah, I mean, to
again, we have
contrast that, like, Juan Soto right now and Nelson Cruz are at 92 and 93 miles per hour off the barrel.
And Nelson Cruz is 55.
Right, that's the other part. So you got the
Yeah, he's-
55-year-old who's about ready to take on Medicaid.
I think he's 44 actually, or right around there. But yeah, Nelson Cruz is an old baseball man who still has it, by the way. He can still smoke the ball.
Yeah.
So those are your top two that are not performing. You said four. Manny Machado's those numbers are very scary. I hope he comes back. He's fantastic, but those are bad.
Yeah.
Those are bad numbers.
This is not one of the four, but you mentioned Nelson Cruz. Now, he's old, but he's batting .247 with 3 home runs and 16 RBIs.
Man,
so
this
they're
team
not
does
getting
not score. They're not
getting any production out of him.
Right.
But now, before I get to their best hitter so far, I have to talk about the famous Fernando Tatis, who is all-world everything. And Fernando actually has got the highest batting average on the team, but it's only .274, okay? But again, let's talk about production. 7 home runs and, are you ready for this? 14 RBIs.
Ugh.
14 for Tatis.
You have none of these players. Again, if you start the year, none of these players have over 20, and we're almost 50 games in. Everybody.
Yeah.
How many people are they leaving on base? Or are they just not getting the base runners out in front of them? What's the on base percentage for the team right now? It's
I don't know how to...
312.
They're not
on base percentage is 312
as a team.
No wonder you only have 14 RBIs. Nobody's getting on base. You got to take a pitch. Take a pitch.
The clock is making them panic. The clock is in their heads.
So I got the next guy is the fourth of the big money people, but he's not big money yet. Soto, this is his last year. This is a guy who a couple years ago turned down $400 million.
That's right.
From Washington.
That's right.
From
to play on the Padres. And last year at the Padres, he barely broke 200 with his batting average. So this is his money year. He has raised the 200 batting average up to 248.
Ooh.
And in terms of production, he leads the team with 8 home runs and 21 RBIs, which isn't very good. But on this team, he's the one bringing the most runs in.
He's the Babe Ruth of this team.
Listen, he's got an on-base percentage of 398. That's something that Billy Bean loves.
398 is fantastic. If on this team, which has nobody getting on base, so you've signed Xander. You have money.
Soto's walked 41 times. The second place guy is at 25, so he's walking a lot. He's at least taking pitches.
Yeah,
which is, if you looked at this team, Xander, Machado, Tatis, Soto.
How many complete games do they have against them?
Oh, I don't know how to figure that one out.
I mean, that's something to think about. You know?
These are
let me try to look this up.
Now, clearly, their pitching's okay. But if they're it's just they can't score.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a...
Well, nobody has complete games anymore, Todd, so I don't think they'd have very many.
Yeah. So, I mean...
they're 26th in runs scored, 182. Just to put it in perspective, the top team, the Rangers, at 301. This team is so incredibly talented. That is such a miss. And their RBIs, if you want to talk about RBIs, 172. Again, 26th again.
Where are they in runs scored in Major League Baseball? Are they like 14th or something like that as a team?
Runs scored, I just said they're 26th as a team, both in runs scored and RBIs.
That's brutal.
I mean, they're only beating. These are the teams they're beating, which is not good. Oakland, Detroit Tigers, Miami Marlins, and the Cleveland Guardians, who were just swept by your Mets. But, I mean, this is ugly. For as much money as they're spending, I mean, they're losing to the Royals in these categories. The Royals have more runs scored this year than the sit down. Think about this. Take your nice, beautiful North Carolina powder blue mug out of your coffee. Pour whatever you have in it and think about the Kansas City Royals have a better offense than the Padres.
And let's break it into swing batter terms. How much are they paying for their offense compared to the Padres?
There's a massive difference. So
I mean, they're not going to catch Tampa, and Tampa is clearly the swing batter winner of the year by a mile so far this year, as far as least paid, most production.
Right.
I'm looking at the Baltimore Orioles.
Oh, nope, you're not wrong. Sadly, they're in Tampa's division. If they weren't in Tampa's division, like if they were in the AL Central, which is like the excuse me division of the AL, one of these teams has got to make the playoffs.
If they weren't paying a lot of money to Chris Davis, they would have an Oakland type of payroll.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh yeah, that is a true. This if we're just digging into the Padres, the pitching to me is not terrible.
No,
the pitching is there. They have the pitching, and they're in these games. If you look at these games, they're losing short. They lost to the Dodgers a couple times. It was like 3-2, 2-1. If you look at their schedule, they're in these games. They're not hitting at all. And I agree with Todd about Machado. I wonder if Machado's injury is get your mind right, or is it he really has had this injury. He's been battling it all year, and they finally rested him. Like, you know how players will play through an injury? His numbers are so off from what he usually does that it would not surprise me that he's had this injury coming out of spring training.
Right.
But the other guys don't. I mean, Xander, wake up. I mean, stop trying to earn all of your money this year. Same with Manny, and Tatis is back. So let's start playing and having. They're not. Again, you got to have the fun. I go back to the locker room. Are you having fun, or is everyone stressing, or is it like we're the rich guys over on this side of the clubhouse, and you're the poor guys? Go get my baseball. Go get my Gatorade. Give me my soda pop. I'm not moving. Is there like the class division within San Diego? Like, do they have the homeless part of the team and the beach part of the team?
Yeah, I feel like you're going to get to the end of the season and Manny Machado is going to say something like, yeah, I was playing injured the whole year. I got to have like a Tommy John type surgery or something like that, where he's got to get something repaired, or, something's going on there. I mean, listen, the pitching's been okay, but the pitching hasn't been hot either. Like who do you have that's lighting it up on the pitching side?
Well, I have a low bar on pitching. If your ERA is under 4 today, I figure you're competitive. And they have 4. Let's see, Waka, Darvish.
Yep.
Somebody named Ryan Weathers, all have ERAs under 4. And then they got, like Brendan said, Josh Hader. He's 0.95 ERA.
Fantastic. I don't think he's messed up on a single save all year.
Yeah.
But if you look at just this month, if we're covering them just
Nick
this
Martinez too is doing, he's not doing bad.
The month of May, they beat the Reds 8-3, then they lose 1-2, then they lose 7-1. Then they play the Dodgers. They win they beat the Reds 7-1. So that's 2-1 to start off the month, really good. Then they face off against the Dodgers. Again, you got to win these games. They don't play the Dodgers a whole lot.
Right.
5-2 win, 1-2 loss, 2-5 loss. Then they play the Twinkies, 6-1 they beat them. They lose 3-4, 3-5. Like, they're in these games. They're just not coming up with the hits like the Mets just did.
Right.
Then they face off against the Dodgers. They lose 2-4, 2-4. So that's 4 losses in a row. Then they lose the Dodgers again, 4-0. So you played 3 games against the Dodgers and get 4 runs, which is exactly the problem that we're seeing with this team. They're not scoring. Then they played the Royals. A give-me game. They win 4-0, lose 4-5, lose 3-4. When you're losing these one-run games against these kind of teams is not where you want to be. Then they played Boston, 6-1 loss, 4-2 loss. So you look across that series, 4 runs against the Dodgers, then you get a barn burner in Kansas City when you get 11 runs. Then you got 3 runs in the first 2 games against Boston, and then on Mental Health Awareness Day in Boston, they win 7-0. So what did they do to the Boston Red Sox? Did they make them all go to therapy before the game and they lost 7-0? The Padres smoke them, score 7 runs, which to them is a lot of runs for this team.
Yep.
I mean, you're playing, how many games are we, what is their average run per game right now? You're 182 and 50, 7 games so far?
Yeah.
Well, they can't make up that lead in a week, but if they could put together a streak like 8-2, but still, they've dug a hole. There's no doubt, and the Dodgers are, despite a lot of injuries, are playing well.
Yeah, the problem is they're on an East Coast trip, so they're away from home. They're living out of hotels. Nothing's familiar. They're going into the Nationals, which who knows the Nationals, right? I mean, I sit here like the beginning of the year and like make fun of the Nationals and everything, right? It's the worst team in baseball, blah blah blah. And then what did they sweep the Mets 4 times already or something this season?
Well, if they hadn't played the Mets, they might be the worst team.
Yeah. So I mean, go in and sweep the Nationals and clean up there, but then you got a Yankees team that is just angry. Mm-hmm. It's a Yankees team that's angry, that wants to win.
They're playing well.
And then you got a Marlins team that's playing well too. You know, they have that new kid Perez who's pitching. It's an adventure. It's an adventure. And then they go home for the Cubbies. You know, you got the Mariners.
They need these 1 and 2 series are obviously terrible. 2 and 1. They need some sweeps. They need to keep turning around. But again, I think having Machado out of the lineup is probably a good thing with the way he's batting. I did not know the speed off of his bat and what he's hitting. That's just something just sniffs like it's an injury. They didn't talk about. He is not that bad. He is not. He doesn't do that. And then again, Tatis and Xander should be their normal selves. And so maybe it's as simple as that. Maybe they're going to play Washington and feel better. But I will agree, the Yankee series, that's a tough one. And I thought when the Yankees played the Rays and went 2-2 against them, that was a great sign for the Yankees. And then since then, they're now the last 10, they're 8-2. So if you can go against the Yankees and even do 1-2 against the Yankees, which I think would be a win for them, they're in a tough spot in the fact that they're not, again, way early, not out of it. And their hitting's been terrible, terrible, terrible. So it is not hard to have a 17-run game and then suddenly your hitting looks a lot better, i.e. the Philadelphia Phillies. But to string that along and to make it a realistic everyday occurrence is a whole nother mix, if you will.
Right. Yeah, some of the advanced stats that are off of baseballsavant.mlb.com. It's just really, really interesting stuff. Like they talk about like the expected batting average based on how he's hit the ball. And Machado's expected batting average is actually 20 points lower than his current batting average. His current batting average is 231, but his expected batting average is 213 based on how he's hitting the ball.
There's something wrong.
You know, we talk about swing batter money. Just as you were talking, I looked at my Diamondbacks who are not spending much money. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 batters hitting over 300. Another guy at 284 and another one at 278. And you probably have not heard of any of them.
Right.
But they're getting hits, they're getting runs in and stuff like that. And I didn't even bother looking at Tampa Bay because I think they probably would humiliate with their batting averages. I mean,
absolutely. I mean, they're one of the leading batting average teams in Major League Baseball.
And again, they're doing it with, bargain players.
They're doing it with passion.
Yeah.
The Tampa Bay, you can find 2 more robust fan bases in those 2 arguments. Tampa Bay and the Diamondbacks. Tampa Bay, because nobody shows up and don't have a game during a Scientology event. That would be terrible. And then the Arizona Diamondbacks, where if the air conditioner's not on and the roof's not closed, they're not showing up either.
No.
I mean, these fan bases are committed committed to excellence.
Yeah.
If you were to say. And then here's the worst part: the San Diego Padres, and San Diego's always looked up to LA. LA's the city; they bring home all the championships. So San Diego has to look up at the Dodgers right now, where they're hoping to be with the Dodgers, like the Diamondbacks are. Nope, they're not. They're not in the same zip code right now.
As somebody pointed this out to me, I should have known it. San Diego is a large city and only has one major league team. They don't have hockey, they don't have basketball, they don't have football. They only have
football.
the Padres.
They lost football.
Yep.
And if they keep playing like this, the Padres may go next to the Anaheim Angels there.
So, I think the next 20 to 30 games will tell us a lot about the Padres. I expect them to turn it around. But I don't know. I mean, if they go 18-12 in the next 30 games, that'll make up some ground, but that won't put them in first place.
No, by no means. The thing that's surprising to me in this division is the Dodgers, to your point. Dodgers have a lot of injuries. The Dodgers have had, a series of folks that have left them, and they're still continuing to be consistent.
Yeah.
Consistently doing what they need to do to make things happen. So, again, this is the Padre episode. The Padre episode right now, to me, 4th out of 5 teams in the NL West is not getting it done. You sign these players to come up with big bats, and they're not doing it. Xander has not done it. Tatis has not done it. Machado has not done it. I agree. I think, again, our theory is that Machado's hurt, which I would agree with based on the numbers. But you still have other guys on this team that should be picking it up. There's no excuses for not having these guys not have 20 RBIs, getting on base, stealing. Tatis overall should have stolen bases as well. He should be walking. He should be stealing. He should be the 5-tool player that everybody loved before he got popped for the 60-day steroid thing.
Mm.
And I know he came back a little late and everybody was wondering, but he brought a lot of great, wonderful, joyful energy to the game of baseball.
Well, a week ago, we met, and the number one team for swing batter wasted money was the Mets. And in 1 week, they've turned it around, and now the Padres are in first place for wasted money. On the positive side, it seems to me we have to start paying attention to Baltimore. Tampa, obviously, but I've got to look more at this Baltimore team. I said to myself this morning, I cannot name 3 Baltimore Orioles.
You got to name the catcher. The catcher was the number 1 pick overall. And then they brought him up, I think, after a year or two in the minors. He was just, he's the Buster Posey of the Baltimore Orioles.
And then I read at the beginning of the year, they maybe have the strongest farm club in baseball. Baltimore's loaded with prospects. So
they committed. They have committed. I don't disagree with you on Baltimore. If you go back even further to episodes at the beginning of the season, I believe yours truly said, if you're going to lay down $100 or $1,000 to start the season, and I got a good bet for you, put it on Baltimore to win this division.
Yeah.
Because I said the payout was ridiculous. I'm pretty sure the payout is not ridiculous. I will be in Vegas this weekend to check all of those payouts out. However, but the beginning of the season, Baltimore was the least favorite in that division. That division looks brutal, though. That division is going to be so much fun to watch at the end of the season because not all those teams can get in. And Boston, hats off to you, Boston. I did not think they were gonna have a winning record. I thought they had already called it a season before the season. Even Jansen is pitching okay.
This is how crazy this is. Tampa Bay, 714 winning percentage, 21 games over 500. And Baltimore's only 3 games behind them.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Baltimore's playing great ball. And they're playing great team ball. That's the thing about it is you don't just wait for one guy to hit a home run. Team ball, everyone's running. Great defense. Again, Baltimore's been building this for a while. And
they've got this Baltimore bird splash they're doing.
It's very fun. Seen this?
When you're winning, everything's great.
Did you see this one, Todd? The bird splash?
Yeah, they're squirting.
There's a double, triple, or home where they squirt the fans.
Yeah. Yeah. Wait for it to get a little bit warmer.
Yeah.
But if you're a Diamondback fan and you're interested, we have a pool you can rent out.
That's
and
right.
I'm pretty sure it's still available for some games because we have the best fan base in all of baseball. So if you want to rent out the pool, call the Arizona Diamondback Stadium and see if your group can enjoy the pool. Now, mind you, if you're going to go with a group of people, make sure they are bathing suit worthy. That means if you're Discount Tire Company and you're thinking of a group outing, the pool is not for you. There's other places in the ballpark for you. The pool is not for you.
Oh, my God.
That is for those that don't know and for those that are not used to it. Like baseball fans I've talked to through the years, they're like, it's so despicable that Arizona has a pool. Fly over Arizona. Just fly over Arizona. Everyone has a pool because it's miserable here.
So what's the pool, like 95 degrees or something?
No, it's air conditioned. It's like an inside pool.
Oh.
That's how nice our stadium is. That's the best part about it. So again, call the offices, book it. Come on down, watch the Diamondbacks. They're winning. You may not have checked it, but they're winning.
I don't know if you're aware of this, but the Diamondbacks streaming service, so if watch the games at home, went bankrupt.
What?
They were covered by Bally Streaming.
Yeah.
And they filed bankruptcy. So I don't know where I think they're still getting the games out, but I just had to laugh about that.
Oh.
If you want to talk about a swing batter event, we should be talking about those streaming services that will go bankrupt that are going to hurt the smaller market teams. But yes, again, call the Diamondbacks, book your suite, your pool party, your family party, your festivities. Anyway, swing batter, we're going to probably host my birthday soon. It's coming up. I'm not pool worthy, but we'll make sure only those allowed. That would be a swing batter pool party. If there ever was one.
Oh,
whoa, hey-oh. Who's doing a cannonball? Everybody? Fantastic.
Nice.
There is nothing better than hitting a home run into the pool, though. I will say that. As a fan, when you watch a ball get perfectly splashed into the pool, now, if it's a Diamondback home run, it's fantastic. If it's the other team, it's not as much fun.
So you have everybody at the party do a cannonball at the same time to see if you can get the right fielder wet.
That's right. Use the super soaker, get the fielders wet. Yeah, so this is that's San Diego. We're having fun in Arizona because we're winning. It's this thing where you beat other teams and then you add them together. Todd knows it. The Mets are starting to do it. He feels pretty good.
We are.
Yeah.
Look at his color in his face.
A couple wins does a body good, baby.
Yeah, Yankees are on a hot streak even with all their injuries.
I'm telling you, is the San Diego manager going to be in trouble in the next 30 games if they're not turning this thing around?
I don't know.
Depends on how impatient that billionaire owner is.
He spent a lot of money to not be in fourth place. Like, he's in the conversation with the Rockies GM right now, who literally called out the Padres and said they don't have a long-term path to success. So you're right now proving the Colorado GM, who currently is smoking weed with his feet on the outfield grass by the pine trees. Actually, if you go to Colorado Stadium, sit in the pine trees in the bullpen. It's probably where he is. And he's like, told you those Padres were going to do it.
Yeah.
Which is, if I'm the owner of the Padres, I am not happy at all. Not happy at all.
Rockies are only 2 games behind San Diego.
Oh, that's terrible. That's just this 2 games into the season, sure. This far into the season, no bueno.
How far into the season are we at this point? What, 25%, 30%?
We've played.
We're not at 50%. We're over 25. Yeah, we're about 33% of the way, I believe. 33.
Yeah,
35%.
we've played about 47, 48 games, so we're almost a third. Probably about 30%.
Okay.
There you go, folks. And the Rockies are still talking smack to the Padres. Does he send him something? Does the Rocky GM send things to him like, we can see you, like a little submarine? Hey, you're in my neighborhood.
God, you can't get to the end of this season proving the Rockies GM, right?
No, the Rockies GM needs to be proven wrong all the time.
Oh, man.
Well, that's our team pick of the week. It's your Padres, the Friars, the greatest, newest stadium I like. I like the stadium a lot because it has the building right there in left field, because why not? I think they did a great job with the new stadium. Doesn't have a pool, but it does have ocean views for those wanting to see the Padres. Hopefully they can live up to the billionaire owner. I mean, he's got some great real estate. He's paid a lot for the pretty players on the field. Let's hope they stop looking pretty and start playing pretty. Otherwise, they may have to go the Bartolo Colon route and pick him.
This weighs very heavily on Manny Machado. Yeah, I hate to lay this all at one guy's feet, but if this guy starts to perform at the level he's capable of, this whole thing turns around.
So you're saying if he comes back from this injury and plays like his old self, he's turning the team around. You're getting
just plays like himself. Forget old
right.
self. Just plays like himself.
Correct.
You know, just
and hope
some solid contact, some sort of contact on the ball. Just, I mean,
my hope is that this is not a really serious injury. Like, we're talking 60 games, 30 games, something of that nature. I hope he does come back. Again, Manny is great for baseball. He's fantastic for baseball. Dad, what advice, Skipper? What do you have for the Padres if you're in the locker room with them?
No, with baseball, you just put your best players out there and let them play 20 games and see if we can start to turn it around. But I've got my challenge for the week is I got to get to know the Orioles. I've got to learn this team. Of course, as I do it, they'll maybe hit a slump, but right now they're great.
We did mention the Pirates, and they've been slumping ever since.
Yep.
However, they picked up a great win against Texas today, I believe.
I believe that's true.
And that's a good win because Texas is one of those teams that Dad went back on his promise. He did a 180. He said, I'm with Texas. All because he has two sons in Dallas. What can you do? Well, that's our episode for today. Padres, we hope you turn it around because if you're going to be with the Rockies, we're going to treat you like the Rockies. And that's a swing batter guarantee. I am your host, Brendan. That's Dad. That's Todd. And we're the swing batter team telling you about what your team is wasting their money on.
That's right.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a good one.
Bye.